Antoine, Arkansas, on December the 6th, 1923. Because we had so many in the family already, we already had 4 kids, and I was number 5. And that made 5. And then just 13 months later, my sister Maddie was born, and I was just barely a baby, so she pushed me out. So my oldest sister Pauline, which was about 10 or 12 years old, had to take care of me as a baby. And so I bonded better with my sister than I did with my mother. Oh, I can still remember as a child being in a family of about 5 or 6 children. It was myself and my sister Maddie, and then I had 2 brothers. I had 3 brothers, so it was 5 of us. But my parents sent us to Oklahoma, and we stayed with our father's wife's family, and they put us in a truck, and they had all of our clothing and all of our house things on this truck, and there were 5 of us. All of us were under 10. I had one brother was just 18 months old, and I was responsible for taking care of that. He was practically a baby. So and then I had 2 other brothers who were older, and then I had my sister Maddie. So we were 5 kids, and they sent us to Arkansas to live with my aunt, my father's brother's wife. When we traveled from Arkansas to Vernon, Oklahoma, I was about 10 years old, and then I had my sister, who was about 8 or 9, and then I had 3 brothers, and my youngest brother was about 18 months old, and I was about 10, but I had to be responsible and took care of that 18-month-old baby. He was about 18 months old. So I took care of him. And we all traveled with all our household goods like beds and clothes and things on a truck. We were on the truck. But my father and mother and 2 sisters and brothers, they came in a wagon. So they had a wagon, they basically came in a wagon and horseback. They came horseback. And you know, my sister Bessie said that was the best time of her life. And I said, I can't believe that. I can't believe you enjoyed that. She's the best. But she said she rode a horse, and she said that was the best time of her life. I couldn't understand that. It wouldn't been good for me. And when I got to Oklahoma, the place where I grew up, they had one post office there, and they had about 1 or 2 grocery stores, and then they had the school there, and they had the church. Now that was the extent of the city. That's what we had. And I don't remember the number of people, but I would say if we had 100 people, that was a big number. I would say it was less than 100 people. The houses that I lived in, we didn't have any telephones or televisions or that type thing. We only had a fireplace, and to keep warm, you had to be in the room with the fireplace. And sometimes it got very, very cold. So you would build a fire in the fireplace, but you would be burning up on your face, but you'd be freezing in your back. And when I got to Oklahoma, we had about 5 children, so there were about 10 of us, and we just had a good time. We played all day long, didn't have to go to school, we didn't have to do nothing, but we did play. And it was an area where there were no other people there except these cousins who were about 5 kids, and they were about their age. So we really enjoyed that. When we moved to Oklahoma, we were supposed to be getting to a great place, and it was a town where if there were 200 people, that was a big number, because there was not many people in that town. And we did have an elementary school there, but we really had no high school. They just had an elementary school, but I was in the 3rd or 4th grade. Of course you were. I remembered going to school, and I remember going big. Every family in that day and time, you had to go to church. So the big thing was to go to church every Sunday. So every Sunday we went to church, and then every school day we went to school. But we lived about, in the city, we lived about two miles, I would say. Maybe it might have been more. But anyway, we had to walk. There was no such thing as a school bus. But I can remember us having playmates, and remember having people that were close to us. But the difference was the people living close to us was all white, and then we were all black. So I remembered that all the white kids we played with every day, and we went everything with them. But going to school, those white kids were on the big yellow bus and waving to us, and we were out there walking the dust to get, and we had to walk to school, but the white kids had the bus so they could ride to school. Black, you went to a separate school, and everything was separate, and my very best playmates was white, and whatever they did, it didn't make any difference. So at one point in time, we had a graduation exercise when all the white kids graduated from elementary school, so they always had a graduation ceremony. The black kids from their school had a separate. So the white kids invited us to go to their graduation, and our parents didn't want us to go, but for some reason we went anyway. And they were afraid they were not going to accept us. But we went to that graduation because that didn't make no difference. We enjoyed it. We didn't know the difference. I don't remember ever inviting those white kids to go to the black graduation with us, though. I remember we went to the white school, and our parents were afraid they weren't going to accept us. They wouldn't come, and nothing like that. It didn't make no difference. Those kids, we were kids, we didn't know no difference. In Vernon, Oklahoma, and I went to elementary school there, and then I had to go to high school, and I graduated from elementary school, and then at that point we had a high school. We never had a high school, except it came when I went to school. So I went to 4 years high school in Vernon, Oklahoma. So for some reason, and to this day I can't remember how as a high school student, I for some reason wanted to have a typewriter. Now, I have no knowledge where that came from, but I wanted to learn typing, and my father did buy a portable typewriter for me, and I taught myself how to type. And I passed the course, but I had to teach myself. So I went to 4 years high school in Vernon, Oklahoma, and I graduated, Uh, and after I graduated, then I left Vernon, Oklahoma at my mom's insistence that I should leave because she wanted all the children leave because there was nothing there for you to do. There was no jobs. There was nothing for you to work but to work in the fields, like have cotton and corn and all the vegetables, and that was all for you to do. So there was nothing for you to gain. So my mom made sure that she says there's nothing for you here. So you go somewhere where you can get a job and where you can work. And I graduated from high school in April of 1943, and within weeks I was on the bus and traveled by bus from Oklahoma to California, and that was life-saving. So the only thing I had when I got to California, I had my typewriter, because it was just like a suitcase. I could carry it, and I had my clothes, and that's all I came to California with was a typewriter and a few bag with a few clothes in it, and that's all I had. And coming to California, because I could type, within weeks I could get a job, and I did get jobs and I did work, but it was only because I knew how to use a typewriter, because people were, in that day and time, was World War II, and they needed a lot of people could type, and I was just real good because I could type.